My sister went to basic training 2 summers ago at West Point, and we went to go pick her up or see her after she graduated at the A-Day parade, Acceptance Day parade. We were waiting by the statue, and while we were waiting, this cadet kept like approaching me out of the side of my view, and I turned around and it's this like tall, skinny guy, and I was like, okay, this is strange. And then he like grabs me and shakes me, and it was only then that I realized that it was my sister. And we took a lot of pictures, and we actually even sent those off, and people were like, oh, I see you have a new West Point boyfriend. I was like, no, this is my sister. It was then, and then I took an aesthetics class with Dr. Saluso that I realized that gender is really important, and it's really terrible, I feel, that you can't tell that it's a woman in this uniform. So that's where I got my inspiration for this project. Self-esteem is something that affects a lot of the women after they go there. I think it's because they don't really get to see their body. You know, they look into the mirror and see this baggy, frumpy, manly thing in the reflection. They don't really see the feminine shape that they came there with and what they were used to seeing in civilian life before they entered military life. This is an issue that's been in society for a while, this feminine versus masculine, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate in society. And so we're trying to make the uniform look more feminine, but still look professional. That's one thing. We interviewed some West Point cadets, past female cadets, and one thing they kept saying is, being professional and still being able to be taken seriously and maintain a feminine shape. And that's something I don't like to say that I'm redesigning it. I just like to say that I'm fitting it to the female body. We started off taking the West Point uniform and knocking it off, which is a process of figuring out the patterns from an existing garment. And this is pretty standard in industry, taking expensive runway garments and making them cheaper for everyday people. And we started off by knocking them off and then transferring them to a paper pattern, where then we were able to analyze the style lines and grain of the fabric. It turns out a lot of the grain of the uniform was off grain, which that means that it twists and pulls and puckers unnecessarily, and that creates fit issues on its own. Even if it's cut correctly, it could create a lot of fit issues alone. And then we made a mock-up, and we made some changes to that. And after we're completely done fitting that to a real human, we'll re-knock that off and compare the two patterns. Eventually, my ultimate goal is to present my findings to West Point and hope that they accept them or accept me as an intern. That's my ultimate goal, and I think that'd be a wonderful experience for me to see, and I think it almost makes it a little bit easier to solve this problem. We can just get in there and see what's going on.